Hey folks, B59 here. I'm new to YouTube streaming, and we'll see how it goes. So this is Transport Fever 2, and what got me interested in doing this Let's Play is kind of new to Transport Fever 2, started Transport Fever overall when 2 was released, and have been playing around with a lot of different maps, been very intrigued with it. One of the things, though, that I was challenged by was the random maps were just too random. They lacked a sense of purpose and place. And so I started to play around with some created maps and making some maps of my own. And this created map is called Old Man Fever, and it's by Brick166, and it is an awesome map, and it inspired me to try this Let's Play. Now, it's a beautiful map. And it really captures the feel and look and layout of the Mississippi River world. I grew up in the Midwest near St. Louis in the town of Alton, and as you can see, the fields were placed to just basically cover everything. And the fact is, when you're there, that's kind of what it feels like. They're everywhere. You drive through the countryside and it's endless fields. So it really captured that well. And it also has the industries that are local to that area. It's really heavy on food and grain, with some quarries as well, and a few other things, some oil, which is consistent, but really heavily focused on food. And then as you head north to the Big Woods area around Minneapolis and St. Paul, you see a heavily forested region with a concentration of lumber industry, and very nice map layout. You immediately recognize where you are. And then as you head south, you kind of go through some industry, more southern forests and iron and coal, all very historically accurate. And then you get down to Louisiana and you get to the Gulf industrial area with Houston and Mobile and a lot of the chemical plants and oil refineries. And so the map lends itself to a real transport fever of sending things that are concentrated in one region to another region. Really like that. And I played this map through 1902 and learned a lot about it. And there are some challenges playing it as well. The map cries out for riverboats, but in real life, the age of steamboats was pretty short. The golden era was between 1850 and a short time after the U.S. Civil War. At that time, there were a lot of advances in locomotives and also standardization on gauges and reconstruction work, and it all led to eventually rail and road traffic overtaking river traffic as being the main way things and people were transferred around. You still see lots of commercial barge traffic on the river, but it's relatively small compared to trucks and trains. Transport fever itself is also not great for shipping. Ships are expensive, they're slow, the maintenance costs are pretty high considering the rates they generate. And in my first playthrough, I did not find as many river shipping opportunities as I had hoped, and it wasn't long before I had shifted to trains. And so it occurred to me that how do we play this and maybe bring out that riverboat feel? And that's what I'm going to try to do here. And I think what it comes down to is first building an economy, starting with food feeding into local cities. And maybe some sawmills, maybe some quarries, but a real heavy focus on food. And then developing boat transports for some of those activities, probably mostly passengers, but when opportunities exist, for cargo too. Now, to make this work, I'm going to start in 1850 and let the time run to 1885 as I'm building out that local economy. Why 1885? At that point, I'm going to freeze it because that's when the Frontenac ship is revealed. It was a lake steamboat, not a riverboat, but it looks the closest to what we're going to get in terms of matching the old riverboats from the Golden Era. So then we'll freeze time then in 1885 and finish building out the river network, and then hopefully transition over to trains. So the map that I'm using is Old Man River by Brick 166, but I've made just a couple of modifications to it. One is I added the tiny town of Alton across the river from St. Louis. And I did that because that's where I grew up, and so I had to. And I also added one farm northeast of Peoria, which I put that there because I thought it would create an early opportunity to try out the grain cargo by ferry or by barge down into the Springfield food processing facility. Those are the only modifications I made to the map. The only mods I'm playing with are achievement with mods, because I do have a couple going, and if I do get any achievements, I'd like them to count. Better RCI colors, animal assets, because we might drop an asset or two, more line and vehicle colors, field plopper, and that's pretty much it. I don't know that we'll use field plopper because he did such a nice job with the fields on this map, but it's there in case we need it. Now, who are we playing as? We're playing as Piasa Transport, and if you're from the St. Louis area, you will of course have heard of the Piasa bird. The Cahokia Indians who lived up and down the river did a lot of cliff drawings and carvings of mythical monsters, and kind of one of the more famous ones was the Piasa bird painting on the cliffs outside of Alton along the Mississippi River. So that's what we're going to be. We're going to be Piasa Transport, and we're going to get started. First thing we have to do is pick up a farm to start, and something that's going to give us some early, easy income and trucking. And right here is a good one in Des Moines. So what we'll do is we already have a road connecting these. So all we need at first is a cargo stop here in right here. That gets us within range, and we'll just use drop-offs, and so we can put a drop-off not very far away at all, and it'll get us to the food processing facility. And let's start our first line. Connect the farm to the drop-off. We're going to color these kind of grainish colored, and we'll tell it to load some grain. And then at the other end, we're going to unload the grain. I don't think we have to tell it to wait till full because it's going to be full all of the time. We're going to name it Grain Trucks Des Moines. And let's go ahead and put a depot in as well. And we'll do that over here, kind of out of the way spot, but still close enough to Des Moines to be useful. And let's get us a dozen cargo trucks. Man, they're not very good at this point either. But let's get a dozen. And get them on the line. And then we're also going to need a line into Des Moines to drop it off and help that city grow and make some more money. So again, we're going to want to get a depot, truck station. Can we get one in there? Let's spin it around and get it right there. And again, drop off. You don't have to go very far. For now, we'll just use that, and then a new line for the grain or the food delivery. Make it green. Food delivery, and we can get maybe 5 trucks to start, or on that line. And there we go. We got our first transport line. So I'm going to do quite a few of these, and it probably isn't going to be the most interesting viewing. So I think what I'm going to do is pause here, go offline, put a bunch of these in across the map, and then we'll come back and take a look at it when I'm done. All right, so we're back, and I did create a bunch of farm lines, and 4 of them, in fact. So if we look here, we've got in Columbia, we've got a farm and a food processing facility, and food being delivered into Columbia. This line is making a little bit of money. The grain trucks is. The delivery is not yet, but I think we'll see how that goes as we keep moving. And as you can see, it's now the beginning of 1851, so that took me about a year in game time. Also, we have deliveries and grain in Des Moines, as we did at the end of our cutoff there a few minutes ago, and also in Fort Worth, or rather Fort Wayne, and then finally in Topeka. So those are going to start to provide a base for our economy, and we'll see what they do. Maybe give us some money to help some of the things we're going to do now. Because now we're going to start kind of an interesting one in our first effort to put in a barge. And what we have here is in Cape Girardeau, we've got the ability to make some planks, but Cape Girardeau doesn't want anything to do with planks. It wants food and bricks. Down here in Memphis, there's a sawmill and a need for planks for the sawmill to make tools. And there's also a farm and a food processing. So if we set this farm and food processing system up, and then likewise up here do the logs and the mill, we'll be able to take planks from Cape Girardeau down to Memphis, and then take the food back up from Memphis to Cape Girardeau, and we'll be carrying a load in both directions. So that's the plan, and let's get to it. We'll start by putting a cargo stop here at the Memphis farm, and we only need 1 platform here, but we will make it 20 meters to give it a little bit more size. And we'll run that right here, and then we'll use a drop off again to take it to the food processing facility. And for naming purposes, the way I like to do these is change Memphis South to Memphis Farm, and 15th Street to Memphis Food Processing Drop-Off. That way, when we create the line, it's a little bit easier to figure out what's going on, and that's what we'll do. So we'll create a line here to here. It'll be another grain line, and it will pick up grain at the farm and drop it all off at the food processing. And then up here in Cape Girardeau, we'll put in another cargo station for the Cape Girardeau forest. And let's see how far away we can get it to kind of minimize our travel time. And it looks like it's right about in here. So we'll get that in there, and then we'll get the drop-off for the mill over here. And that's a pretty long truck run, but we'll see how we can do with it. And this one we'll call Cape Girardeau Forest. And Cape Girardeau Sawmill. And we'll create a line from here to here. And we'll make this one kind of green for the logs. And it will load logs and unload logs. We need to get a mill or a depot in as well. And we might get that down at this end so it's a little bit closer to Cape Girardeau. In fact, maybe right in here. There we go. And we're going to get quite a few trucks here. In fact, oh, you know what? We need to name this. This is going to be... This line is the log trucks, Cape Girardeau, and the other one is grain trucks, and that was what city again? Memphis. So at our depot in Cape Girardeau, we will buy, let's buy 20. And we'll get all of those on the log truck line. And then down in Memphis, we'll also need a depot. And again, I'd like to have it not too far from the city. But this is kind of hilly. It might be expensive. Let's see what it looks like. Not too bad. And here we're going to get 15. You know what? We probably ought to go ahead and get 20 here too, because we're going to want quite a bit of production here so that we can... let's see. There we go. Okay. Oops. I must have screwed up. Did I get the wrong... Oh gosh. Got the wrong kind of... Well... Can you believe that would actually happen? I'm sure none of us have ever had that happen before. So, we're going to buy our grain trucks again. And I probably did the exact same thing up in Cape Girardeau. Because of course I did. Oh no, we did. We got those right. Okay, so those are all off and on their way now. And now let's get our first ferry, our barge dock in. And right in here might be nice, somewhere close to Cape Girardeau. One of the things that's hard with rivers is that harbors are down at sea level, and these places are pretty hilly, so they tend to be a bit challenging, and you can see that's really expensive. But I think that'll have to do. Also don't want it sticking too far out in the river. So let's do that, and we'll name this Cape Girardeau Wharf. And it's gonna need its own cargo station, but we're gonna now have to figure out how to get the road hooked up. And again, this has been the tricky part. Didn't leave myself a lot of room here, but let's see what we can do. Okay. Collision. Here we go. And we'll get a cargo station in as well. Again, just one platform is all we need. Yeah, this will do. Actually, we're going to need two platforms on this. One for the planks and another for the food. So here we go. We got that in now, and we're going to run. We'll go ahead and get our lines in here too. So we're going to need to get a supply line of planks, and for this I do like to put a second cargo station up here. We only have the drop off at the moment at the sawmill, so we'll get another single platform station and drop it in. We'll drop it in right there. And unfortunately at the moment we're taking those right through town. So the question is, do we want to spend the money now to get a bypass in? And I'm going to say yeah, we do. Curvy. In fact, you know, let's go ahead and do this right. And we're gonna get the road in from here. There we go. And for this line, and we'll color the planks kind of a light yellow. And here at the Cape Girardeau transfer, we will load planks this time. And at the wharf, we will drop them off. Now, let's get these named nicely. So this is the Cape Girardeau sawmill, and this is Cape Girardeau Wharf Warehouse. There we go. And so we're going to need some trucks on that as well. But we might want to wait until we get the other bits installed so that they're not sitting around not delivering anything, because I don't think our sawmill will start producing planks for delivery here until we have a need for them further downriver. So here we have to say, so which end, where do we want to drop off and pick up our logs? And unfortunately, we're probably going to have to, well, I think we can do something similar as we did a few minutes ago. If we do a little road around here and connect to here, we can avoid going through town for the food trucks, and then for the planks delivery here as well. So somewhere right in here is probably a good place. And as we turn around, we see that there's not a lot of low ground. Here maybe, it's getting a little steeper. Well, let's just, well, first we're going to have to borrow some money. There we go. And let's get this in. Well, that's not bad at all. There we go. That'll do. Let's get that in, and we'll call this the Memphis Wharf. And we'll get a road going from there. Let's see, what do we got here? There we go. Yeah, that'll do. And so again, we're going to need a wharf warehouse. So let's get that in here. And again, we're going to need 2 platforms, I think. We'll get that right here. We will call this the Memphis Wharf Warehouse. And we're also going to need a drop-off for the tools factory. And we'll just get that right here. Doesn't have to be too close at all. And then, to avoid traffic, because this is probably going to be a little busy, I'm going to spend some extra money, which I'm sure regret. And again, put a back road through here. Actually, let's get this in first. Let's see, let's do this too. Yeah, there we go. And then from here, we will come down to here. Well, that's ugly. Let's try this again. There we go. That'll do. And so we're going to need one more cargo station. It can be a single up here. And so we will create a couple of new lines, and this one is going to be called the Memphis Food Warehouse. And this is the Memphis Wharf Warehouse and Elm Street, which I think we should call the Memphis Plank or Lumber. No, this is the Tools Factory drop-off. Okay. So a couple more new lines. We'll do one from here to here. And this is carrying planks again. I think we chose that color for the planks. And we're going to name this one Lumber Trucks Memphis. Our other one was Lumber Trucks Cape Girardeau, which we had forgotten to name. And then we'll create, let's see, on this line, did we set it up to do what we wanted it to do? No, we didn't. So we want to load planks. And we will wait till full here. And we'll unload the planks. And then great. And then we'll do one more new line from here to here. And this is one of our food lines. Oh, it's not going the right way. Well, I think we can make it do so. But first, let's go ahead and load up our food here at the food warehouse and unload it at the Memphis Wharf Warehouse. Now let's see. Did that not get connected? Maybe that's the problem. These trees make it very hard to see. I think that is what happened. Let's give this a try. Yeah, there we go. And this one we're going to call Food Trucks Memphis. All right, now for the fun part, and that is our very first barge. And this one is going to go from here to here. And it's going to carry a mixed good. Let's just make it blue because it's on the water. I think, though, we can all agree that the Mississippi is never blue. So the barges are going to run from Memphis, or rather Cape Girardeau, to Memphis. And they're going to load planks in Cape Girardeau, and they're going to unload food in Cape Girardeau. And at Memphis, they're going to load food and unload planks. So now all we need is a barge. So let's get that in. Here is our shipyard. And I don't think we have enough to buy one yet. These Riggies are the best ship at this stage. They're the fastest, and really that's what counts. That's what counts. They carry quite a bit. 70 is plenty. It's a lot, but they are very, very slow. And they cost 550, so we're going to have to get another loan, it looks like. Although it's nice to see this is ticking up slowly, ever so slowly, but yeah, it's ticking up. So let's go ahead and borrow. And then go back to our shipyard and buy one of these puppies and put it on the barge line. Yay! We have our very first barge line. So, how are we doing here? Are we now... it looks like the yellow box is blinking, so it should be making some shortly. Or did we not populate this line? We don't have any ships or any... So that's right, we need more carriages. So let's start with 10. And these are going to go on the log trucks in Cape Girardeau. No, not the log trucks, the lumber trucks in Cape Girardeau. And I am sure we need them on this end as well. So let's get those out and say we're going to buy... We don't need a whole bunch for this, for the tools factory, for the planks, because that's such a short run. What did I call this line? Lumber trucks. Oh, that's right. These are lumber trucks. So let's go back to our thing. And these are lumber trucks in Memphis. And then these, we'll get another... I think we're going to need quite a few because that's a pretty long distance. But let's start with 10. And these 10 we don't have enough money for, so let's start with 5. Can we buy 5? Can we buy 4? 5. And these will go on the grain, not the grain trucks, the food trucks in Memphis. And did I buy the wrong kind again? Because I am that kind of special. Let's just pause. Indeed I did. Back over here. Get these on as food trucks this time. Maybe that'll work. And now let's go back up here, and indeed we're making planks. So there we go. That tells us that we have a solid connection all the way down to the Memphis Tools Factory. And up here, are we making food yet? Oops, we're past it. Perhaps. Oh, maybe we should take it off pause. Okay, let's see now. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're starting to make some food. So now we just have to wait and see what happens. And I've gone over where I wanted to go today, so this seems like a good place to stop. And what we'll do is we'll take a little ride on our new barge. Let's see this thing in action going down the muddy Mississippi. It's really quite nice. That's really beautiful. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this, and we're gonna break here and come back next time and see where we go next. Thanks a lot. B59 out.